Come on, let's be friends. Now, let's head live to the voice of the Bears, John Morris.
Hi and welcome from Rudy's tonight, our Baylor Coaches Show. We're glad you're with us. Open dates behind us, and now looking ahead to the Texas Longhorns in Austin this Saturday. And welcome in, and folks, welcome Baylor Coach Jim Grobe here this evening. Coach, welcome to you. How was your second open date in 3 weeks? How'd you spend your time this weekend?
Well, a lot less stressful than typical Saturdays. It was good.
Sure.
It was really, really good. We just relaxed. That's a thing. Try to catch your breath a little bit because you know these next 6 weeks are going to be packed.
Boy, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, it seems like you're off. Oh, we want to play. We're ready to play. But now it's 6 straight with no open dates, so hopefully everybody took advantage of it.
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll be a fresh football team. We're a pretty healthy football team, and just need to play good. We're playing 6 really good football teams here in a row, so we got to play good every time out.
How about practice last week, going through the open date? How did that go? Do you feel like you got some things accomplished?
You know, it's funny, J-Mo, we did the same things last week that we did the open date week for Kansas because
Right.
it worked, you know, and that's typically the way coaches are. If it works, you stick with it. So we felt like our plan was really good for Kansas. So last week we practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Had the kids lift weights Friday morning. They weren't real happy with that. They were with Coach Cause Friday morning. And then we were on fall break, so they got to go home. They got to go see their high schools play if they're close enough. And Saturday got to watch a bunch of games. Hopefully they were watching Texas and some of the other teams that are on the schedule. But it was good to get them back together on Sunday. I think they were really excited to be back together and back in game week.
Good. I'm guessing, you know, it's just such an odd deal to have 2 open dates in a 3-week span. I'm guessing they're really, really revved up and ready to go now down this home stretch.
Yeah, I think so. I felt like we got a great effort against Kansas, and typically you don't know how open dates are going to turn out. I've had them. A lot of times we get an open date and everybody feels fresh and plays great the next week. But then sometimes you have an open date and everybody gets a little bit stale and sluggish and they don't bounce back. But we played pretty good against Kansas. So, you know, I'm hopeful that, you know, we'll go down to Austin and our kids will crank up and play hard and play well.
Press conference on Monday, yours, and then Seth Russell takes to the podium up there. Kind of raised a few eyebrows when he said – I don't know if you, no, in a good way.
I'm sitting down, so go ahead. Let me have
when he said something like, yeah, we had some extra time. We got to put in a few wrinkles, some things we haven't shown yet. So that's
get everybody's
intriguing.
attention. Yeah. So, well, that's always the case. I think when you have an open date, your tendency as a football coach when you have an open date is to put in too much stuff. So you got to really be careful because you've got all this time, and about anything you can dream up you can put in. But the bottom line in coaching is always keeping it limited so that the kids can execute. If they can't execute things well, it doesn't do you any good to have a big game plan if you can't run it all well. So, you know, we may have a few wrinkles, but probably not as many as Seth felt like
hinted
we put
at.
Yeah.
It was just a hint. Are there excuse me, are there some things normally as the season goes along that you integrate into your game plan or you know, not that you necessarily hold them back, but as the season goes on there's more to that?
Well, you've always got a bank of trick plays. You've always got some wrinkles that you may want to do defensively based on the personnel groups that you're going to see. The trick plays may actually extend to special teams. Could be, you know, fake punts, fake field goals, different things that you might do in the kicking game. But, you know, basically your changes evolve game to game because you see the other team playing certain looks on defense or running certain plays offensively. And so that kind of changes your game plan and your attack more than actually, you know, preseason thinking, okay, each week we're going to put a wrinkle in here and a wrinkle in there. It's probably more based on what the other teams are doing than what we've planned preseason.
I got you. That makes a lot of sense. And you're right. You know, with the coaches, they're kind of spinning their wheels, you know, with no game per se to prepare for in that week. They could probably throw a lot at the guys. You got to kind of measure that.
Yeah, you got to really be careful, J-Mo. You know, and a lot of coaches are grinders. I've never been around a coaching staff that works any harder than our guys do. Our assistant coaches and the whole staff really have a great work ethic. They do a great job with our kids. I'm really pleased with the way our coaches work with our young people. But, I coach for some old school guys, and a lot of times we'd put in a lot of hours, and we'd end up thinking, and I was a defensive coach, we'd end up thinking of all these great things that we could do defensively because we were spending so much time. But when we'd go play on Saturday, we would have a game plan that was this long, but we'd only get about half the game plan called on Saturday. And so what we had done is we'd expanded the game plan, but we actually didn't make a lot of the calls that we'd practiced all week. So basically what we had done is we'd wasted time on practice for things that we never got called in the game. So what you have to do is you have to figure out what you can do game plan-wise, whether it be offensively or defensively or in the kicking game. But if you can't practice it enough, you can't execute it on Saturday. So you've really, for coaches that have a great work ethic like our staff, the key is for them to understand that we almost got to pull the reins back a little bit because more is not always better.
That's really interesting. So you've coached for 40 years, 20 years as a head coach. Have you seen that change through the years, or sort of the mindset of how much to put into a game plan? Has that changed?
I think so, James. Now there are a lot of grinders out there that put in more time, and more time's not bad if you're spending it just studying your opponent, studying what you're doing, trying to make improvements on maybe how we're teaching a technique. If a kid's not getting it right, you got to figure out if a kid's not really getting the game plan or he's not getting the technique that you want him to play, why isn't he getting it? Some kids you can draw on the chalkboard and they get it, or grease board now, used to be a chalkboard. You can draw on a chalkboard. Some kids you can show them video. You can put a video, you can show practice, you can show what they did in practice and they get it from that. Some kids you actually have to take out on the practice field and actually show them what you're trying to teach them, actually walk them through it. So kids learn at a different pace and they learn by different ways. Some kids you can just mention it to them. I remember our defensive back coach at the Air Force Academy, Cal McCombs, just mentioned off the cuff one day to Scott Thomas, our All-America free safety, that if Colorado State's running back went opposite from the play action, that he was running up the seam on the backside, and he just mentioned that to him in passing. And late in the fourth quarter, they had play action, and Scott started in the alley, and we thought, this is a touchdown. And just like that, you could tell the light came on. He wheeled around and went back and picked it off. Actually ran it back for a touchdown. And that was from mentioning it to him. So some kids get it from talking. Some kids get it from seeing it drawn up on the grease board. Some kids get it from film. Some kids you got to walk them out on the practice field and walk them through it and show it to them. So I think those kind of things, if you're spending more time figuring out better ways to teach, is good. But if you're spending too much time putting in extra game plan, it can be counterproductive. We found that more is not always better, smarter is better.
Very good. That's really good insight into your game plans and how much time you spend on it. And when you have that extra time, don't go crazy with the extra time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. More is not always better.
Yeah, very good. Write that down. More is not always better.
That's a hillbilly coach talking right there.
I think it applies to us.
I can deal with those terms.
In a lot of ways, that applies to all of us. All right, we're off and running on this Monday evening live from Rudy's. Appreciate you being with us. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more in a moment. Brought to you in part by Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue with Coach Jim Grobe on the Baylor Coaches Show, and we'll return right after this. This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by the Furniture Center and Casual Shop.
Johnson Roofing understands protecting your family is what matters most. When the storm hits, who do you call? When disaster strikes, day or night, call Johnson Roofing, your trusted local roofing authority since 1941. The award-winning Baylor Game Day is back, live from McLean Stadium before every home game. KWTX News 10 takes you inside the game with expert analysis and a pregame visit with Coach Jim Grove. And pick up your free all-new 2016 Bear button at the News 10 Broadcast Center. Baylor Game Day is brought to you by Baylor Scott & White and by Southwest Sports Medicine. Live on a Fox Sports Network, CW12 Central Texas, and KWTX News 10.
Here are a few Texas-sized reasons to visit your Texas Mahindra dealers. For one thing, Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. And you can get big savings with 0% interest. Plus, Mahindra has the industry's best 7-year limited powertrain warranty. It all adds up to the #1 selling tractor in the world, Mahindra.
Find all the latest from Mahindra at the family-owned and operated Pine Cove Tractor on I-35 in Waco.
2 new Hondas for $200. That's right, it's back and it's better than ever. 2 new Hondas for $200. You asked for it, you got it. But hurry, our great selection is gonna go fast at these prices and the savings has never been better. Hurry down to Waco's Motor Mile and Greg May Honda or visit us on our website at gregmayhonda.com.
Greg May Honda.
This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by Oliver Brothers Transmission, Waco. Back live from Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue, brought to you in part also by John McLaren Chevrolet, the official Chevrolet dealership of Baylor Athletics. John Morris, head coach Jim Grove. We've got a player coming by, and it will be Trayvon Blanchard tonight.
Oh, wow.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Trigger. Do you know the origin of that?
I don't. I think
we're
it's
gonna
a high
ask him.
school deal, though,
Is it?
right? I think that's
I don't
where
know.
it came from.
His nickname's Trigger. We'll ask him where that comes from.
Yeah, I
That'll
think
be
he
good.
just got put on the Jim Thorpe list or
Yes.
something for best defensive back. Or
Only
like
finalist from the Big 12 also, so that says a lot.
wow, how about that?
So,
hey,
very
it couldn't
good.
happen to a better kid. If
Yeah.
there's a better kid, I don't know who it is.
Boy, that'd be fun. So he's with us here in just a little bit. Defensive player, nickelback, junior from West Orange Stark. Speaking of defense, coming out of the open date, do you know yet about Bravion Roy, who missed the Kansas game, was hurt up at Iowa State? Do you know if you'll have him back this week?
You know, I really dropped the ball on that, J-Mo. They asked me that at the press conference today.
You did drop the ball.
Monday's our day off, you know, so I really, the bad thing is I saw Mike Sims, our trainer, today and didn't ask him about Brave. Last week he wasn't able to do much. They did actually get him out on the field and let him run around a little bit. He's been on that exercise bike. I made fun of him the other day. He didn't appreciate it in front of the team, but we got to ask our staff to drag that exercise bike out on the field every day, and it must be really tough to drag it through that grass. But that's what he's got to do. He's got to stay in shape. That was one thing that held him back a little bit. He was a basketball player, and I think he's 325, 30 pounds
He's
right
3
now.
bills plus, yeah.
And was, I guess, a pretty good basketball player. And when he showed up this summer, we couldn't believe he'd put on so much weight. You know, most kids feel like if they're bigger, it's better, so they try to get as big as they possibly can. But you need kids to be agile and be able to go make plays, and you need them to be in shape so when the fourth quarter rolls around, they can help you. And so we spent most of our time just getting Bravion in shape, and just a real shame he got hurt at Iowa State, because I was thinking he had a chance to be a breakout guy for us. And so hopefully we get him going this week. We'll see. But you know, he's got a chance to be a really good player for us.
Yeah, he started that game against Iowa State. It was his first start.
It was his first start. He got 2 snaps in. He got hurt on the second snap, hurt his elbow, hyperextended his elbow. And that's kind of a tricky deal. That's one you'll come back from and be fine, but you just don't know how quick.
Yeah, it's like Virgil over here. He's got his arm in a sling. We hope Virgil's back, but he's working. He's playing hurt tonight.
See, Bravion didn't go. Virgil's going.
Virgil's going.
He's tough. He's tough.
All right, speaking of your defense, how about the stat that you are the only FBS school in the country, still has not allowed a point in the fourth quarter? We've talked about it before and don't want to, belabor the point, but that's a great stat.
That's a great stat, and a really good stat for us against Kansas, because by the fourth quarter, we were letting some kids have some playing time, and they kept Kansas out. Now, Kansas did the same thing. David Beatty, the coach, he put some guys in too. offensively. So, that gave both sides a chance to play some young players. But that's a pretty amazing stat. I think, most coaches would tell you that if you had to play your best football, you'd love for it to be in the fourth quarter. And defensively, to not give up a point so far in the fourth quarter is pretty impressive.
I feel bad even bringing it up, talking about it. Let's don't talk about it
Well,
anymore,
we got a big table we can knock
on that wood for sure, but that's very impressive. How about Baylor is now one of just 9 unbeatens in college football. The number was 11 last week, 2 lost over the weekend. Ohio State lost on the road at Penn State, and Texas A&M was undefeated, and they lost at Alabama. So now Baylor's one of 9, and Baylor and West Virginia, 2 of the 9 undefeated in the country.
Well, you talk about 2 teams, Ohio State, who's fantastic, and Texas A&M that's playing great football. And the scary thing is, and we'll remind our players, but that tells you how hard it is to go on the road and win. No matter how good you are, I think Ohio State, certainly one of the best teams in the whole country, and they go on the road to Penn State and lose to a Penn State team that is very well coached, very talented, but not like Ohio State. So playing on the road is really, really tough. And going down to Austin this week, we'll remind our players, guys, it's going to take a lot of focus to go play good football. When you go on the road at any of the Power 5 venues, there's so many things to be distracted by. You've really got to focus and really, almost have a mean on. You better be focused on playing great football, or it'll get away from you pretty quick.
Yeah, and Texas is they're 3-4 overall. They're 1-3 in the league, but they're undefeated at home. So their 3 wins have come in the friendly confines.
I wish you hadn't just brought that up.
Sorry about that.
They
just
are.
Another fact.
They're, most of us feel like you got to defend your home. That's what everybody talks about. This is our house kind of. Mentality. You've seen it a million times, commercials and everything. This is our house, and we're going to defend our house and all that kind of stuff. We feel the same way in McLean Stadium. We don't want anybody coming in and getting us in McLean Stadium. It's important. If you want to have a great season, you got to play great on the road. So that's going to be an emphasis for us, and it's not going to be easy. Texas is a extremely talented football team. They are well coached. We just play tough schedules. You play good people every week. Anything can happen, and they've got a good mix of older and younger players. But this is a very talented football team, and we're going to have to play great football to have a chance.
So the capacity at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium is now, do y'all know what it is? How about 100,110? And since they closed in that north end there and then just kept growing up, 100,000. Have you ever coached in a game in a stadium at 100,000 or more?
I have not. The biggest one I've coached in is Clemson, and they're a measly 83,000.
Only 83.
And that's 83,000 crazy fans.
Sure, right.
And so that's get up to 100,000 fans. That's pretty impressive stuff. And our guys know, every venue we go to, we got 6 games left, and 3 are for real road games. One's a neutral site game with Texas Tech, but we've only got 2 more home games in McLean Stadium. So with the tough schedule that we've got left, all the good teams that we've got to play, we've got to really grow up in a hurry. Our seniors have got to really do a great job leading the younger players, because the toughest thing to do is go on the road in this league or any Power 5 league and win.
Yeah, tough place to play for sure. All right, want to take a break here. Oh, by the way, it's a 2:30 game this Saturday, and then the TCU game the following week, November 5th. That's been set. That will be a 2:30 kickoff at McLean Stadium. That's a green out at McLean Stadium for the next home game, November 5th, Baylor versus TCU. Take a break, and Coach, when we come back, let's look around the league a little bit. Especially, I want to get your thoughts on that Oklahoma Tech game in Lubbock on Saturday evening. Unbelievable offensive numbers from that game, and we still have both those teams to play down the road. So
thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah. Truth hits you right between the eyes. We'll take a break and be right back. This is the Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's, and we'll return in just a moment. This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by TFNB, your bank for life.
End of a good day's work, time for supper and family. And you can relax because ASCO and Reliable Case Construction Equipment pulled you through the day. When this job's done, the next one's waiting. That's why ASCO has genuine case parts and service to make sure that key cranks it up in the morning and keeps it running through the day with one of the largest service fleets around. Buy it, rent it, or lease it, ASCO has it. So when you depend on the equipment beneath you, ASCO keeps you going.
Do you want a rewarding career in the field of technology? The Information Technology Diploma at Vista College offers hands-on training for a career in the growing world of technology. In less than 1 year, our Vista College instructors with real-world experience can train you in the skills employers seek. You'll be prepared to work in technical support, networking, and more. Start earning more by getting your IT diploma at Vista College. Class size is limited. Call now. Financial aid is available for those who qualify.
Hurry into Benny Boyd in Lampasas and get your better buy today. We're having a little work done, so please pardon our current mess. But what's a little mess when you'll get our best deal on your new Ram truck during Ram Power Days? Benny treats you right with $8 oil changes for life and a lifetime engine warranty. Skip the big city dealers, because when you want a better buy, Benny Boyd's your guy.
That's Benny Boyd, y'all. Hi, I'm Dylan Radigan. The world is brimming with possibilities. And that keeps me busy. My latest invention may be able to feed and sustain communities around the world. My team and I are always on the go, meeting new people and seeing new places. I produce films that I really care about. It's an honor to speak to audiences around the world. When people come together, meaningful work gets done. How do I do all this? Well, that part's easy. Hotelplanner.com.
This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by ASCO Equipment. Back live from Rudy's on the Circle in Waco. I want to remind you about our pregame tailgate concert series. This is sponsored by TFNB, your bank for life, and HEB Plus. Takes place each home game outside McLean Stadium. Just after the Bear Walk, each home game, visit any TFNB, your bank for life, or HEB Plus location around Waco to enter to win a VIP pregame experience. That is the pregame tailgate concert series. And back with us inside Rudy's, we're making the rounds, handing out some cards. Folks here get a chance to ask some questions of Coach Grove. We'll get to those in a bit. Trayvon Blanchard is here. We'll visit with him next segment. Looking forward to that. But, Coach, this weekend, a chance to sit back and watch everybody else. And just your thoughts as an old defensive guy when you see Oklahoma beat Texas Tech 66-59, and the score just tells part of the story with all the yards those teams put up. I
think, J-Mo, what you see is why defensive coaches, especially defensive coordinators, don't sleep much this time of year. It's just gotten to be, crazy. When I went to the Air Force Academy, I may have told you all this, but when I coached the linebackers at Air Force, you always have goals. That's a big deal. And our goal back then was 300 total yards and 14 points, to limit teams that we played to 300 total yards and 14 points. And what did they have? What did Mahomes have the other night? The other day.
He had 819 rushing and passing. 819 for one guy.
Rushing and passing for one guy, 819 yards, and our goal was not to give up more than 300. So we wouldn't have hit our goal on that one. We'd be marking the goal chart off, so we didn't get that one.
854 total for both teams. It wasn't one-sided. 1,708 total yards for the two teams combined.
Gee whiz. So, both coordinators, I think I saw a picture of Coach Stoops, is, the defensive coordinator, not Bob Stoops, the head coach, but I think Mike was in shock. I think that was crazy. And then, when you think about that, somebody said today it was 88 passes.
Yeah, 88 passes.
Mahomes, the quarterback for Texas Tech, threw the ball 88 times. Last year, I think we got kind of patted on the back offensively because we averaged 92 plays a game last year at Baylor. And here's Patrick Mahomes actually threw the ball 88 times Saturday, so it's unbelievable.
Right. And Baker Mayfield, the quarterback for Oklahoma, he threw for 564 yards, and he got lost in Mahomes throwing for 734.
Just crazy
It boggles
stuff.
the mind to think of those numbers.
And we haven't played either one of them. We've got to play both those quarterbacks going forward. So.
Yeah, get your tickets now. We've got tickets available for Baylor and Tech at AT&T Stadium.
Let me tell you what, this Texas quarterback's slick. For a young guy, I can't tell you how impressed I am. He's got all the nice touch on underneath throws, got the great arm on the deep ball. for a young guy, especially for a young guy. He just seems so composed. Nothing seems to rattle him. He moves around well in the pocket. He makes plays with his feet when he has to run. You know, he's a good runner and just really, really impressive quarterback. That's the thing that's driving everybody in our league crazy. There's so many good quarterbacks out there right now.
And he earned that job. I mean, it seemed like it was a wide-open competition. A lot of folks thought it's Shane Buechele we're talking about, and it seemed like he was the best option. He's done really well.
That sounds like a great quarterback name, doesn't
It
it?
does.
Shane Buechele. I mean, it just sounds good. It sounds like the guy's got to be able to play, but he really can. He's a good player. And, of course, you know, only a quarterback's only as good as his supporting cast. The offensive line does a nice job up front. They run block well and pass block well. Really like the receivers. You know, we're going to talk about Duvernay, but we really like the receivers. And then the big running back, Foreman's 250 pounds. Yeah. He's heavier than any of my linebackers. And so, you know, that makes it especially tough. And I think, you know, we've talked about it in here before. When you play somebody, if they're one-dimensional, it's a lot easier defensively. If they're a throw team, makes it a little easier. If they're a run team, makes it a little easier. But Texas does a good job mixing things up, and so you got to try to keep guys down tight to take on a 250-pound running back. And then at the same time, they've got all the skill guys out on the perimeter, and they'll throw the football out there, not to mention throw the deep ball really, really well. So this is a great challenge for Coach Bennett and our defensive coaches.
Yeah, a lot of weapons there. Let me ask you about Devin Duvernay. He is their receiver, their true freshman receiver. He was one of the guys that signed with Baylor and then left and ended up at UT. I think there's 4 of those guys that are on the UT roster. It looks like 3 are being redshirted, but Devin Duvernay is playing really well for a true freshman.
Yeah, I think he's caught, 3 home run balls, 180 yards the other day against against really, really good football team in Kansas State. I think it looked like Kansas State was taking control, and then I think 80 yards to Devin. So he's, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he won the Texas 100-meter championship. So we know he's got great foot speed, and you talk about defensive coordinators staying up at night. I bet our cornerbacks are going to spend some time staying up at night, knowing that you got that kind of speed out on the perimeter.
One thing, when you came in, you asked if you could meet with those guys, meet with their families before they transferred, or let you meet with them and then go from there.
Yeah.
What was that process like for you? I mean, you were brand new here, and you didn't really know these guys. You didn't have a history in the recruiting process. But what was that like?
My number one thing is I just wanted everybody to calm down and take their time before they made any decisions. And I just felt like that Baylor was the best place for those guys. I understand the reason. I know that they committed to Coach Briles, and felt like once Coach Briles wasn't here that they needed to maybe go someplace else that was recruiting them. But I still feel like this is the best place. I wish they had stayed at Baylor. They could certainly help us, especially depth-wise. One of the things that we've been bothered by a little bit's numbers. We're supposed to have 85 full scholarships, and we've got, I think we're somewhere a little over 70 right now. But I think that, I wanted kids to be happy. That was my number one thing. And the last thing in the world that I'd want is for Devin or any of those young guys, Patrick or JP or any of that. I saw JP's mom the other day in Buc-ee's.
Really?
Talk about us taking some time. JP Urquidez's mom was in Buc-ee's, and she came up and said, "Hey, I'm JP's mom." And
that's great.
And reminded me, because I'd actually gone to see JP and his mom, but a really nice lady, nice family. I love JP. He's being redshirted at Texas right now. But I do feel like the number one thing we wanted, I didn't want a kid here that was unhappy, and if he felt like he was going to be happier someplace else, I wanted him to do that. And bottom line is I want the kids here that want to be here, and those are the guys I worry about. So even though I know Devin Duvernay is going to be really fast out on the outside, if he wanted to be at Texas, I'm happy he's there. And I just hope our cornerbacks will, play really smart football. When they see number 2 out there, they know that guy can go.
But you said he's one you didn't meet with? You didn't meet with he or his
I didn't have a
parents?
chance to meet with all of them, because some of them, quite frankly, had just decided there was no turning back, that they decided they were going to go someplace else. So in that case, if I didn't have a chance, there wasn't any need to go spend time with them, and that was the situation there. They just made up their mind that they were going to go to Texas.
Well, one thing for sure, it showed that Baylor was right on in who they were recruiting.
Yeah, we had the right guys in mind. There's no question about that. And, in the offensive line with Patrick and JP, I really thought they'd have a chance to come in and help us right away. As it's turned out, if we continue to stay healthy, they may have had to redshirt for us too, because the guys we're working with right now, if we keep them healthy, are doing a good job.
All right, very good. Appreciate it. All right, take a break. When we come back, Trayvon Blanchard is here. You're going to enjoy hearing from him. Remember that Baylor defense that is #1 in the Big 12 in total defense. So we'll visit with him when we come back. Glad you're with us. Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue. We'll be right back. This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by Nissan.
Let you know what you're doing to me, baby. Your love's a lot like gravy, yes it is. I just can't get enough of your sweet stuff.
Next in line. 2 new Hondas for $200. That's right, it's back and it's better than ever. 2 new Hondas for $200. You asked for it, you got it. But hurry. Our great selection is going to go fast at these prices, and the savings have never been better. Hurry down to Waco's Motor Mile and Greg May Honda, or visit us on our website at gregmayhonda.com.
Greg May Honda.
This is the last place you'd expect us to talk about staying connected with state-of-the-art technology, or wow you with a massive touchscreen. Then again, you probably didn't think you'd need your survival skills back on the road either. Jeep Cherokee, conquer all the world's most challenging places.
Hurry in for great deals on the most awarded SUV lineup ever.
Or get 20% off MSRP cash allowance for an average of $7,600 in savings on select Cherokee Trailhawk models and dealer stock.
For over 20 years, Jason's Lawn Care and Landscaping has been taking the work and worry out of home and commercial lawn care with maintenance programs to handle standard maintenance, fertilization, and lawn pest control. The seasons are changing. Don't neglect your lawn. Give your lawn in trouble the head start it needs to get through to the next season. With cold and severe weather upon us, Jason's Lawn Care will establish the best source of treatment to ensure a beautiful lawn to enjoy with friends and family in seasons to come. Call today, 254-857-9180.
This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by Johnson Roofing. From Rudy's on the Circle in Waco, brought to you in part by DuBois Furniture. DuBois Furniture is excited to, again, give Baylor Nation the chance to cheer on the Bears in style. Enter to win the Baylor Fan Cave giveaway in-store or online. DuBois Furniture, where beautiful homes happen. And folks, join me in welcoming to our program this evening, Trayvon Blanchard, Junior Nickelback for the Bears. Terrific. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right, man. Glad you're with us today. What about the open date and 2 open dates in 3 weeks? That's a little odd, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It's very strange, but the defense and the whole team, we've been using it to our advantage to get our bodies back together, get ahead of class, just take care of things, and then get back to the field against Texas. So we're looking forward to a normal week of preparation going down to Austin.
Good. I asked Seth this earlier today. Was this second one especially, second open date, as much a mental, reset as it was a physical reset and break for you guys?
Yeah, so it's a physical reset really, but the defense we've been using as an extra week to game plan, and I just feel like we have a pretty good game plan that we can use to our advantage.
Very good. Excited to get back going this week, though?
Yes, I'm very excited. Yes, sir.
And what about Texas? It's such a great rivalry between Baylor and Texas. But do you guys feel that?
Yes, sir. In the way we do, we try to take it as any other day, a usual week of preparation. But we know that they have a lot of talent on their team. They have a really good run game, a really good pass game. So it starts up front. We can't let them run the ball. We have to get off the field on third downs, and takeaways will be a big part.
Very good. Well, you know anybody on the Texas team? Anybody you played with or played against?
Just scouting and watching film. Know all their receivers. They have Duvernay. He's a really big part of their shots. He's a deep threat. They have Bird, who could catch really well. They have Jake Oliver, who's really good at running his routes. Their quarterback, he's a freshman, but he makes some really good throws. He doesn't get rattled. So hopefully as a defense, we can show him a few different looks, show him something that he hasn't seen. So it's going to be a really fun week of preparing.
Really good. Let me ask you this. You're a good Christian guy, but here's Duvernay, who was a Baylor Bear, and he said, no, I want to go somewhere else. Now you're playing against him. How do you wrap your brain around that?
It was his decision. He decided that Texas would be better. You can't blame him, but now he's not with Baylor, so that means he's against us. So
right.
He's just another face on the other side. It's
Fair
just
enough.
A faceless opponent, really.
Yeah, very good. That's a good way to approach it, for
Yes, sir.
sure. All right, what about your recruitment to Baylor? How did that go? How did it come about that you ended up here?
Recruiting was nice. Baylor, they were one of the first schools that really pursued me. I came down here and watched the games. I used to watch Robert Griffin. The coaches, they made me feel at home whenever I was down here. I was able to get a really good relationship with all of the coaches, and I knew it was a good Christian university. I'd be able to continue my faith here. So Baylor, it was just an all-around good decision.
Good. You're in that nickelback position. Y'all know this. That's sort of a hybrid safety linebacker. You do a little bit of everything. What'd you play in high school?
In high school, I played the rover position, which is pretty much the nickelback.
Yeah.
The difference here is I cover down more. I play over the slot more, closer to the receivers. In high school, I was closer to the line of scrimmage, but in high school, I played everything, really.
Yeah.
Receiver, safety, linebacker, corner.
You played all those?
Just a little bit of everything in high school.
That's great. Well, that's kind of where I was going. I mean, you're so versatile here. I can't imagine what it was like in high school. What other sports did you play in high school?
Football and basketball were my top two sports.
All right, very good.
Yes, sir.
Very good. And that position, I mean, you're just made for that nickelback position here because you can come up and run support, or you can drop back and you can cover receivers or backs or anything. I mean, do you feel that's perfect for you?
Yes, I take pride in playing the Bear position. I feel like it takes a special athlete to play. In certain formations, you're asked to guard the slot receiver, so you can be a corner. You're asked to play deep sometimes as a safety. You're off the edge. You're playing zone, so I take a lot of pride in being the do-it-all type of guy.
And you really are. What do you think about this team now? 6-0, this is the statistical midpoint of the season. 3-0 in Big 12. Where do you feel like you guys are knowing the tough 6 games you have left?
Well, we're where we expected to be. During the workouts and during the training camp, this is where we plan to be. So now that we're here, although many other people may be surprised, we're not really surprised. This is what we've planned for. So now it's just based on us going out here and executing like we know we can.
Good. And, you know, the games you got coming up, I mean, there's not an easy one in the bunch in these last 6.
Yes, sir. We have a gauntlet coming up. We have to take it week by week, 1 week at a time. So right now, our focus is Texas.
Very good. Very good. You can tell that. Here we are on a Monday, and you got the scouting report on, and we know that you're completely focused on Texas.
Yes, sir.
I hear your teammates and coach refers to you as Trigger.
Yes, sir.
Where does that go back to? Where does it come from?
That was a high school nickname that my friends gave me, and my coaches, whenever they come see me in high school, they hear my classmates call me Trigger. So
right.
They introduced me down here as Trigger, and it just caught on.
I like it.
Yes, sir.
But was there anything that started that?
No, sir.
Just your high school coaches?
Just a few friends.
Oh, okay, your friends.
Sir.
I like it. That's good.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. And the way you worked through a knee injury early in the year kept you out of the first 2 games. Was that tough to go through that right at the start of the season and work your way back?
Yes, I tore my left lateral meniscus 10 days before the first game, and that was a really big dent in the plans. I thank God for it. It could have been worse. I thank God that he was able to help me recover very quickly. He helped me to come back and I don't feel the difference. So I'm out there playing with confidence. I'm out there playing. I feel like I haven't really missed a beat, really.
Boy, that's great.
Yes, sir.
While you were out, Pat Level stepped in, played really, really well, to the point that the defensive staff has found ways to get you and Pat on the field at the same time.
Yes, sir. Working out with Pat, I see the way he prepares. He prepares each day as if he's a starter. We both push each other in a really good way to put our best foot forward. So watching Pat do what he did in those 2 games, it wasn't really a big surprise. He's a really good playmaker on the field.
Good. Well, let me say, and I say this on behalf of a lot of people, we appreciate the way you represent Baylor. You're a great representative of Baylor and Baylor football, and a stand-up guy, and appreciate you being here tonight, and we wish you nothing but the best the remainder of the season.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And only a junior, back next year as well, so that'll be good.
Yes, sir.
All right, Trayvon, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Thanks very much.
Yes, sir.
Trayvon Blanchard with us, number 48 in your program. Watch for him. That'll be fun. All right, when we come back, questions from our audience. Coach Grove rejoins us. Stay with us. The Baylor Coaches Show returns right after this. This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by Rudy's Barbecue.
Does someone you love humiliate you? Does that someone control your every move? Does the one you love hurt you, threaten you, or force you to have sex? Not every partnership is a healthy one. If you answered yes to any question, your health and well-being may be at risk. The Family Abuse Center of Waco can help. Call our 24-hour crisis hotline at 800-283-8401 for help. Let's eliminate domestic violence in Central Texas.
What do Veterans One Stop, Fuzzy Friends Rescue, and the Family Health Center have in common? They are charity champions, nonprofit organizations in Central Texas, nominated, then selected charity champion winners because of the good works they do. Now meet the latest nonprofit organization to be named a charity champion, Friends for Life.
For over 27 years, Friends for Life has been helping the elderly and people with disabilities recruit, train, and organize volunteers, take people to the doctor, grocery shop, mow their yards, have one of the largest guardianship programs in the state to take care of people who aren't able to make decisions for themselves. We also provide money management. People who are happy in spite of their circumstances, they love everybody that comes into the facility. Biggest need right now is to upgrade our air conditioning system. We have 2 that are not working at all right now.
To nominate a nonprofit or learn more about charity champions, visit tfnbtx.com.
Hog Electric is your professional electrical contractor, serving the Central Texas area with over 15 years of experience. We are professional, on time, and give free and fair estimates for your next home or business need.
Hog Electric, highest quality service, cheapest price in town, residential, commercial, emergency 24/7, free estimates. Hog Electric will get you connected.
This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by Hog Electric. Back with us live at Rudy's. Appreciate our host here at Rudy's on the Circle in Waco. Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue. John Morris, Coach Jim Grove, and appreciate Holly Grove, who is with us in the back. If y'all don't know Holly, say hello to her and make her feel welcome. And Holly, we appreciate you very, very much. I hope you know how much we appreciate you as well. All right, Coach, this is the time of the show when we have questions from the audience. I don't think any of these are from Holly, but that might be interesting. First one for you is from Noni, who is right there. All right. He says the Big 12 is being accused of having no defense. We were talking about that Oklahoma Tech game. Do you see no defense, or do you see great offenses?
Well, it's really a great question. And I think the thing that happens so many times when I talk to the press, they want to know particularly why a certain player maybe got beat on a certain play, missed a block, dropped a ball, different things, or why maybe we didn't perform as well offensively or defensively in the kicking game, whether it be the punt team or the kickoff return team or whatever. And I always try to remind them, remember that other teams have good players too, and that's kind of the way you got to look at it. And I do think in this situation that the Big 12 is a very explosive conference offensively. a lot of different styles, a lot of different ways to attack defenses. And so every week out, there's the potential defensively that you're going to be embarrassed because this is a really good offensive league. But I don't think that the Big 12 is the only league that's great offensively. If you look around the country, now some conferences are a little bit more run-oriented, maybe Big 10, a little bit more like that. Some teams are more, Pac-12 spread out, flip it around a little bit more maybe. But I think probably the number one thing is that defenses are facing such good offenses. There's no problem with a lot of the defenses. It's just hard to stop people today. Everything's changed. Now offensive linemen can use hands to block up front, which basically means they can do that up front and grab jerseys. And back in the day, offensive linemen had to block like this. They had to keep their hands in, and block like this. Well, now they can use their hands, and so protection's a little bit better. And I think the type of offense today with all the spread sets, they get great athletes on sometimes linebackers and guys that don't run quite as well. So if you get a slick quarterback in these spread offenses, it's tough to play defense. So I don't think it's a situation where the defenses are not playing well. I think it's more of a situation where the offenses are playing great. But I will tell you this, that the team that wins the Big 12 is the team that's going to play defense. If you're not playing defense right now, you're not going to be there at the end of the year. So hopefully we can continue to play good. But I think if you look at West Virginia, who's gotten a lot of attention lately, they're playing pretty good defense. Most of the teams that are going to have a chance at the end of the year to be at the top of the Big 12 are going to be teams that play defense.
Good point. Top two teams in the league right now in total defense. Baylor number 1, West Virginia number 2.
Oh, how about
Speaking
that?
to your point right there. All right, Noni, good question. Thank you. Clark has a gift card for you from Rudy's for your question being asked on the show. Next one from Brandon Johnson. Where's Brandon? In the restaurant right there. Got a gift card for you as well, if you can make use of that. Brandon says, with a tough schedule headed your way, has your approach in mentally preparing the team changed at all?
Well, I think the good thing about the open date, and I think Trayvon mentioned it, is that we've been able to work fundamentals and maybe spend a little bit more time on our game plan. But I think what I sense from our coaching staff and especially from our players, maybe more so from our players right now, that maybe the coach's approach has been a little bit more intense, but I see a lot more focus on our players' part right now. I see guys really in meetings and in practice trying to take advantage of every rep right now. And so I think going forward, we probably haven't changed our approach very much other than the fact that we know there's no wiggle room now. These last 6 games, we got to play good every week. And so there's no chance to come out and not play very well and come away with the win. These next 6 games, I think our players and our coaches all are well aware that we need to play our best football. So I think maybe our mental approach as far as how seriously we take everything we do, whether it be meetings, film time, chalk time on the board, practice time on the field, walkthroughs, full speed stuff, everything we're doing right now seems to have a little bit more of a sense of urgency.
That's good. Really mature approach also.
Yeah.
Brandon, thank you very much. Enjoy that Rudy's gift card. And final question, Coach, from Jake Jordan. Where's Jake? In the room. Oh, right there. A little collaboration there. Jake's question is, what position group has impressed you these last few weeks in practice?
I think if I look at it, I've really liked the improvements that all of our position groups have made. But I think the one position group that made the biggest jump, I think, from Iowa State to Kansas was probably our defensive line. I thought we were disappointed that we didn't play very well up front. I don't think we were very happy with many of our guys defensively against Iowa State. We were pretty happy with their fourth quarter performance. They played pretty good in the fourth quarter. But we weren't really happy, with any of those guys or any group. A couple kids had good individual performances, but as groups. And I think the thing that's really been evident to me is we've made some strides up front on defense. The defensive line, I think, especially against Kansas, if you look at how they played against Iowa State and then how they played against Kansas, was light years. Now, I will tell you, as we go forward, our competition's going to get tougher, but I do think our defensive line has really started working toward being better. I think they got challenged at Iowa State, and so that would be the group that I'd single out right now, although I think we've had some other groups that have played well, but they're certainly the group that got challenged at Iowa State and bounced back against Kansas.
All right, terrific. Jake, thanks. Good question. Enjoy that Rudy's gift card, guys. Thank you for that very much. All right, take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the upcoming schedule in Baylor athletics and Grove's Greats when we come back. Stay with us. This is the Baylor Coaches Show, live from Rudy's.
This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by Pineco Tractor and Equipment.
Oliver Brothers Transmissions has been family-owned and operated since 1961, spanning 52 years and 3 generations of transmission specialists. In fact, in Central Texas, Oliver Brothers fixes more transmissions than all others combined, because experience counts. We offer state-of-the-art diagnostics and even free towing when you need it, and an available 3-year, 75,000-mile warranty. You can put your trust in Oliver Brothers, as so many have for 52 years.
If you've served in the military, then Vista College can help you take the next step in your career.
Since I've graduated at Vista College, I've got my degree in business management. I've got a great job with a company that's growing expediently, and I'm real happy.
And as a vet, Army vet, they were there for me. They helped me with everything that I needed financially and moving forward with the program. Anything that I needed, they were there for me.
The reason this place is good for ex-military is because you have very small, intimate classes. I myself suffered from PTSD when I left Iraq, and I know a lot of military personnel coming back from overseas suffer from the same thing. And it's very hard to be in a crowded room with a bunch of people, but when you're just in a small, intimate setting, you know everybody that's in the room, it's a lot easier for veterans.
Vista College, we create opportunities.
Furniture Center has been family-owned and operated since 1961. We offer furnishings for every room in your home. Living room, formal and casual dining, bedroom, accent furniture, and more. We have fast and free delivery. With our large inventory, we deliver right off the floor, so you can start enjoying your beautiful home furnishings. For better furniture at better prices, your first stop should be the Furniture Center.
Quality inside and out. It's the Furniture Center and the casual shop.
This portion of the Baylor Coaches Show brought to you by Spinco.
And you're back with us. Final segment on the Baylor Coaches Show here this evening. Want to mention a few events that are coming up in Baylor athletics this week. Relatively light week, really. Cross-country runs at the Big 12 Championships. Saturday morning at 10, that is in Lubbock. The women's cross-country team at Baylor is number 12 in the nation. They have really jumped up as the season's gone on, so we wish them the best at the Big 12 Championships. Equestrian hosting SMU Saturday morning at 11 at the Willis Family Equestrian Center. Football we've talked about in Austin to play Texas, 2:30 Saturday, and volleyball's on the road at Kansas State, 7 o'clock in the Little Apple of Manhattan, Kansas. We need to get you out to the Equestrian Center. You're a little busy, but we could get you and Holly on horses out there at the Equestrian Center.
I would love to watch Holly ride a horse. She actually does love to ride horses. She did it at camp and whatnot. I've not been a big horse guy, but I'd love to try it. I think that's really cool. I can't imagine what that would be like competing on a horse. I think that would be really impressive. Yeah, that would be really cool.
They're really impressive. You have other things going on right now, though. Let's move to what we call Grove's Greats or Jim's Gems here. Who, coming off an open date, who in practice the last couple of weeks maybe has caught your eye and the coach's eye?
Well, I think the kid that I'm really happy for and excited about is Graylin Arnold, the freshman cornerback that actually started against Kansas. What's happened is when Graylin came in, we knew he was a very talented kid, but we've got some really good cornerbacks, and he's worked his way into being a starter right now. And what's happened, it's lit a fire under the other corners. So what's happened is we have a lot of competition right now at the cornerback position. We're going to need good corner play this week against Texas. But it's really fun to see a young guy challenge the older guys and see the older guys respond and play their best football. And so what we've got right now at those corner positions, Ryan Reed's on the corner, and even Ryan's motivated right now. We've got some really talented corners, but the best thing about it right now is every day that they come to practice, they know they got to bring it because they got a young guy that's trying to take their job, and so we've got really good competition right now. So the guy that kind of hope he'll play well this week. Young guys tend to, be up and down a little bit, but Graylin Arnold's a kid that I like watching him practice. I like watching him compete, and I like what he's done to that room to see those defensive backs be as competitive and on point as they are right now.
Boy, that's good. So watch for him. Graylin Arnold's number 4, a true freshman, and I remember back during fall camp, he kind of caught everybody's eye because he was making plays. And at one point, I texted a guy named Joe Shad, who used to be with ESPN, now is in Miami covering the Dolphins. It's where Xavier Howard is. Xavier could have been here for his senior year, but he's now playing for the Dolphins, and he wore number 4. So I told Joe to tell Xavier that the new number 4 is making him proud.
Yeah, well, we thought Graylin was going to play a little bit earlier, and he got the muscle pull, and we had to keep him out till he got healthy. But he's a good young player. I mean, we're happy to have him, and another one of those guys that's so cool. He's got great character. He's a wonderful kid. And the nice thing about him is, he's always bouncing around, and you just enjoy being around him. And so it's fun. He's a fun kid to coach.
That's great. All right, final thought, Coach, as we wrap things up here in the final segment. We've talked about this before, but you've coached against Texas once when you were at Air Force. And dug a little deeper to make sure I remembered it right. It was December 31st, 1985 in the Bluebonnet Bowl in Houston. You were on Fisher DeBerry's staff at Air Force, playing a Texas team to close the season. You guys won the game 24-16. Here's the part I didn't realize. Air Force finished 11-1 that year. That was a great season.
I think we were ranked top 5 in the country at the end of the season. We had a great year. It was one of those years where everything kind of came together. We were pretty good on offense and had a good kicking game, and had just off the charts great defense. Really, really good defensive football team, and a lot of guys that have gone on and done great things serving our country. The kind of guys that you're really proud of. But that was a team that it always scared me because the whole football team from day one was talking 12-0. 12-0. That's all they talked about. And actually, we got through. I think we were either 10-0 and 11-0, and we lost late fourth quarter at BYU. They had, BYU, great program, and we lost really late at BYU. But the kids, when the kids start talking 12-0, that scares coaches because they don't want to hear that stuff. Just go play every game as hard as you can. But it started going 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're getting back on the airplanes and going 8-0, that kind of stuff. So it was a cool year. It was not only rewarding because we won a bunch of football games, but then we ended up playing Texas in the Bluebonnet Bowl, playing the Longhorns, a storied program. All that was pretty cool. We got a win there. So ended up being a great year for us.
Boy, that's big. And that's the only time you've coached against Texas.
That's it.
That game.
That's it, yeah.
All right, you get it shot this Saturday.
I got a feeling the venue will be a little more hostile than the Bluebonnet Bowl was.
Probably so. Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Thanks for your time, and good luck in preparation the remainder of this week, and talk about it next Monday.
Thanks, John. Great to see everybody.
All right. Coach Jim Grove tonight, and appreciate him being here, and also Trayvon Blanchard being here tonight as well. And again, thanks to our host at Rudy's, our host spot for this Baylor Coaches Show each and every Monday for the entire football season. Baylor, Texas, Saturday, 2:30 kickoff from Austin. Remind you again, the next home game the following week, November 5th, Baylor versus TCU, is a 2:30 kickoff at McLean Stadium, and that will be a green out at McLean Stadium. Not that you can't wear green to Austin this Saturday. You will be in the minority. That's it tonight. Good night from Rudy's.